Welcome, everybody. I'm excited that everyone's here. My name is Jeff Remington. I'm a retired middle school STEM teacher. I taught grades 6 through 9 for 35 years, teaching every kind of science, computer science, robotics, and all that. Retired for a day, and then I got hired by Penn State University. And in that role, I help all of the Penn State researchers get grants, and we take their grants and we turn it into K-12 education that is based on what the researchers are working on. So it's very authentic in what we do, which is kind of neat. So for about the next half hour, we're going to take you through a little bit of what artificial intelligence is all about, primarily generative artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been around for a very long time. Autocorrect on your smartphone has been around for 10 or 15 years. So, it's not that this is anything brand new, but it's evolving rapidly in how generative AI can work. So in the chat, you're going to see is the link to the presentation. It's also on the screen. You can take a picture or a screenshot of it if you need it, or you can look back in the chat and you should be able to get the link there. For those of you that are just entering, if someone could copy the link and paste it back in the chat from the previous conversation, that would be wonderful. Okay, so we are going to start with something called Slido. And if you happen to have a cell phone with you, you can scan that QR code and you can participate in this. And the question is, in this poll, in a word, how do you feel about AI? And you're going to see on the screen, these are some ongoing comments that teachers have made in prior presentations. But you can just scan that QR code, or you can go to slido.com and enter that number. If you've never used Slido before, it is a great tool. Slido can be used in PowerPoints, and it can also be used in Google Slides. You get up to, I believe, 4 slides free on the free account. And you can do word clouds, you can do quizzes, you can do all sorts of things. And the nice thing about Slido is you stay right in the presentation. It's not like Mentimeter where you have to leave the presentation and come back. Slido helps you do that. Okay, we're definitely getting some more things up there. I see some participants typing in. I've given this presentation about 15 times already with university professors and also with K-12 teachers. And it seems like most people are curious about it, conflicted. Okay. Cautious, I think, would be another good word. That it is kind of unknown. Okay, well, thanks for that. We're gonna move on to the next slide. So here's what we're going to try and do today. Let me back up there. We are going to try and tell you a little bit about the basics of how AI works. So many people are talking about AI, but very few people really know what's behind the curtain. How does it actually work? You're going to find out that all AI is simply statistical math analysis. That's all it is. It's just straight up math. So it's just another reason why math is important. We're going to learn about the capabilities, some outreach that Penn State does with AI, and some examples of AI in use, both in the classroom and with researchers that we have at Penn State. We'll teach you some practical skills, and then we'll leave you with some implications for STEM and beyond. And then towards the end, we have a page that has some resources on it that you can explore at your own time. So Penn State has what's called an AI hub, and the link to it is right there. It is a one-stop shop for everything AI at our university. So our university is very large. We're one of the largest in the world. We have 100,000 students. And we have many different researchers in many different fields using AI. So over the past year, we decided at the university to have one single landing page to get you connected with all the different types of AI activities that are happening at our university. And our university has global reach all over the world in what we do. So let me try and tell you a little bit about how AI works. So the first thing, AI really runs on data, and it's primarily getting that data from the internet. And we all know the internet is not really reliable and representative of the whole world. So that is an inherent problem. So the data collection is really from all these types of things, books that are on the internet, pictures that are on the internet, papers, videos, YouTubes, anything you can think of on the internet. That's where these models start to learn. So it's all through data collection. So everything you do every day when you interact with your computer or your phone, you're adding to that collective data set so that these machines can not only learn from humans in general, what the human population is doing, but then your phone learns specifically what you're doing in your applications, customized to you. The way you might spell a word, the way you might say a phrase, it starts to learn that. So all these words or images are converted into mathematical representations because you might remember that all computers can do is read ones and zeros. They can read numbers and pretty much ones and zeros. So text and images are turned into numbers. Those numbers are representatives of ones and zeros. Each word or image pixel gets a unique number, making it easier for the computer to understand. So, for instance, the English word the might have that number code so that anytime that number is read, the computer knows that that means it's the word the or the word in. We're talking about image recognition. So we know like people all over the world can have their faces recognized, biometrics. You go to airports now, and sometimes you don't even have to use a passport. It just recognizes your face. So how that works, every single pixel is given a number, a unique number for that pixel. And as those numbers are in combinations, it helps figure out what's there. So it uses probabilities with all these numbers. The model learns how often words or phrases come together. It uses probabilities to guess what comes next in a sentence. Likewise, for pixel pattern recognition in images. So if the words in the come up, based on probabilities, the computer might say, the AI model might say, beginning might be the next word that comes up. And again, it's just reading strings of codes, which are numbers, plugging it into an algorithm, and that's creating what's there. If it sees pixels in a certain combination, maybe like this, it might assume that it is a B. So just kind of an interesting philosophy of how this is used. So the big thing about AI is you have to train these models. So programmers create a model based on what they want that AI model to do, whether they want it to recognize text, whether they want it to recognize images. So the model is trained, which means it practices a lot of reading text or images for machine learning and adjusts its understanding based on the patterns that it finds. So we do a lot of work at Penn State with insects, with entomology. So we do a lot of training of image AI devices and cameras to recognize different species of bees and wasps. So then there's statistical analysis, again, back with the math. It uses statistics to figure out which words or pixel image patterns are likely to follow others. For example, if it sees the sun is, often it can guess hot or some other word that might describe the sun, something logical. For image patterns, yellow and black pixels might indicate it's a species of bee. So then there's context. The model looks at words around it, a word to understand its meaning. Likewise, it looks for patterns with those pixels. There's the feedback loop then. So if the model makes a mistake, it learns from them and tries to do better next time. It's learning from its own errors in a test. So this just takes an awful lot of data and an awful lot of time for these machine models to get better and better. Again, it's making the predictions from that. And we have bee models at Penn State that are like 97% accurate, that they could identify any species of bee that comes by there. So the output is it generates text or identifies images based on its predictions. But here's the human part. It does need human supervision. And the human supervision double checks that the models are learning and getting things right. And they also make sure that there's no harmful content in there. You think if these models are learning from the internet, there's good things on the internet, but there's a lot of bad things on the internet. So you may have heard of hallucinations with artificial intelligence. That's like when, the models are training on something that's bad data. And humans have to kind of intervene every now and then to make sure the models are learning correctly. So it's constant learning. These models are always getting better because they're always learning from new text that they find online or new images that they find online. So the worst AI is ever going to be is today. It's going to be better tomorrow. It's going to be better the next day. It's going to be better the next day. Now, here's some capabilities. There are at least 13 clusters of capabilities of things that AI can do. I'm going to go through this quickly. You have this presentation, so you can look at it in more detail. AI can find and organize information. So think of that in your role as a teacher. Think of that in a role of a scientist or a researcher. Can find relevant information, can find specific information, sorts data into groups, creates and finds group segments. AI labels and enhances data. It can turn unstructured data like emails into structured data like spreadsheets, which is very helpful. AI gains insight from big data and understands the past and the present. So it can understand market trends, can visualize data and form dashboard reports, can even identify sentiment, understands trends, patterns, relationships. AI can perform simple tasks. It can help customers. You know that from phone calls. You're on a phone and you'll get an AI generated voice that's trying to answer your questions. Does simple office tasks, can do tasks at home. Think of Alexa or Siri. And it can assist in different areas of life, health, finance, etc. AI can make decisions and recommendations. It learns to make better decisions over time, plans next best actions, can solve tactical problems, can recommend products and services. If you've been on Netflix or Amazon or any shopping things, it will recommend things that you might like based on your preferences. AI sees, it converts videos and images into text, can see human motions and gestures, recognizes objects, understand what happens in images and videos, and it understands visual changes. AI is really getting good at diagnosing cancer better than doctors can. AI reads. AI can understand emotions or sentiment from text. AI can convert images, text to images. AI can suggest text, summarize and improve text, and can translate text. And again, I'm going to show you examples of these in action. AI chats and talks. You've all been on a phone call where you're talking to an AI robot. AI talks with people. AI converts text to speech. Google now has earbuds that will do real-time live speech translation. So you can literally Google it, Google the Google speech translation earbuds. You can get them and talk in real time to someone who speaks a different language, and you'll be able to understand each other. AI answers questions. AI hears and understands speech, can recognize people by their voice. It understands speech, can convert speech to text. And matter of fact, I think we've got an AI bot that's converting this into a transcript, what I'm saying here. AI understands emotion in speech as well. AI senses the environment. It recognizes touch, taste, smell. At Penn State, we have researchers that have sensors that can simulate human touch, simulate human taste and smell. that they can really get all the emotions and all the senses that humans have. We've got sensors at Penn State that can translate that into information. AI creates visual design and art, manipulates content. AI can sing songs. There's a lot of problems with that right now with copyright because a lot of artists like Freddie Mercury, who's dead, he's resurrected through AI. There are so many songs that he's singing that he's never sung before because people sampled his voice and have him singing. There's a whole thing. You could Google this. Freddie Mercury sings Michael Jackson. Both singers are dead, but they're all new genres of song that are from them because they've sampled their voices and used it. So lots of ethics to think about here. AI optimizes complex processes. Our researchers at Penn State, there's not a researcher who's not using AI to help them gain insight into the data and what they're finding here. AI detects damages and predicts maintenance. That's good for airplanes, for cars. AI forecast can predict risk and fraud, predicts future events and outcomes, predicts supply and demand. AI controls robots and machines. You might have, a robot vacuum at your house. So, and if you've been to an airport, lots of robots moving around there. So at Penn State, our AI team does a lot of outreach. We have sessions with teachers to explain what they do. This right here is one of our researchers, where you're going to see in a later slide here. This robot he has helps students with their social emotional needs. So if you don't have access to a counselor or a psychiatrist and you need one on the spot, this robot is kind of an intermediate, can understand facial expressions and help students out that way. We do a lot of outreach by building infrastructure and things like that at Penn State to help people plug into artificial intelligence, because if there's pockets in the world that don't have access to the internet, then their data is not part of the collective, which could be good in some ways, but could be bad in some ways because you're getting biased data because that group of people are not included. So I would highly recommend you going back to this slide at another point in time because we have great webinars that we've done. This one right here teaches math through AI. It's called Playing with Polygons. And this is a very famous researcher in the United States that works with collaboratively a researcher in London. And they figured out ways to teach K-12 math through this program. So you can listen to it here, click on it there, and implement that. This is a great researcher we have. He probably is going to do a much better job than I'm doing right now in explaining the ins and outs of what AI is all about for your classroom, for your life. So that's a great webinar to listen to. This is Dr. Passanow. Her webinar, we teach teachers how to use her work. She works with science teachers, middle school, high school science teachers, and has her AI model grade student science essays, and it gives them immediate feedback into not only grammar, but it gives them feedback into their conceptual understanding of the science concepts better than a teacher could. And it helps the student learn and improve. They're formative assessments. A lot of people think, wait a minute, AI is going to get rid of a lot of jobs. It really isn't. Jobs are going to shift, but AI is going to be a tool to help keep teachers in the classroom longer, because it's going to take some of those monotonous tasks off of our plates so that we can really focus on the kids. And then this is a panel discussion of some of the top AI researchers and lawyers in the United States. I highly recommend at some point you listen to this, because this is going to answer some really challenging legal questions you might have as a teacher or an administrator in your classroom, and how to navigate AI. They talk all about that in this presentation. Okay, here's another time for you to participate here. If you use AI in your work in some capacity or in your private life, explain how you use it and why. And all you have to do, take your phone, either go to this QR code with your phone, or if you're on a computer, just go to slido.com, enter in that number, and let's see what you can do here. Jot down some things that you do that you currently use AI. I'll review some ones that people have put down, getting past the blank page. So like if they have an idea, but they're not really sure, can help creating PowerPoints, data analysis, Dolly for flyer pictures. So if you need to get a picture for something and you're afraid of copyright, wow, Dolly can create a picture for you. Create some of the non-IP sections of proposals, okay? Speed up editing, brainstorm ideas, website text, summarizing points for a presentation slide, data collection and analysis. Yeah. I'll give you a little bit more. Using lesson planning. Yes. You could even create a syllabus. If you have to do a new course, say, hey, ChatGTP, I'm doing a new course on bioinformatics. What would be a bulleted syllabus to help me with that? And not that you would use it word for word, but it helps your brain get started. It gives you an idea. AI voiceovers, recording Google Meet and Zoom conversations, including transcripts to summarize it. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, we're gonna have one more, and then yeah, okay. I think we're good. I think we're good. We're gonna move on. So real world examples. This is Dr. Passanow that I mentioned, and these are the teachers that we bring in for workshops in the summer. Since we've written a grant, we actually can pay these teachers to test out her AI model. And these teachers just loved it, because normally they would spend 3 or 4 hours grading 100 science essays. These essays were graded in less than 5 minutes and gave better feedback than these teachers did, and were more patient with the students than the teachers would. So these teachers are excited about that, because that wasn't the funnest part of their job, and they can interact. They see the feedback as well, so they can interact and coach the students better and have more time and energy to coach those students. So these are some of the teachers that participated. I'm not going to read it all, but I'll read a few. These are their testimonies. Formative assessments powered by AI illuminate students' learning pathways, empowers teachers with insights, and cultivates a growth mindset. The transformative power of AI in education will unlock the equitable potential of every learner. Here's another one. I discovered that AI can empower efficiency and innovation in our education system. It can reduce teachers' burdensome tasks. I know in the United States, and I assume where you guys are in Malaysia, it is hard to keep teachers in the classroom. I honestly believe AI is going to help keep teachers in the classroom. Here's a great person, Dr. Bonfusco. She has created this robot called Abby, and it's a one-on-one tutor for students. And the kids love it, because the kid learns that student. The robot can read the student's facial expressions and help coach them in a pleasant way, and have infinite patience with them to help them learn math, help them learn reading. Where you or I, as a teacher, if you have a classroom full of 30 kids, you're not going to have time to do that. You get a couple of these Abby robots in certain corners of the room, and the robot can help with that burden and help the student, and the student loves it. These are some of the things that we have with Penn State researchers. This is called Insect Eye. We have this in one of our gardens at Penn State. The bugs come into this net, they crawl up, they go through a camera, and AI detects what kind of an insect it is. And then there's a catalog of all the insects that are in the area. And the nice thing about that is, then we know, do we need to spray for an insect or not, instead of just randomly spraying. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for all the ways that researchers use it. Here's what made me feel good. So 5 years ago, I was teaching my students, and we were using microbits and Arduinos and Raspberry Pis to do simple coding. and to run simple machines. That's exactly what these researchers are using in what we call neural networks, where the Arduino or Raspberry Pi or microbit would be attached to the camera. And then that's the little network that's detecting what kind of bug would be in the region. And if you've used a microbit, they have Bluetooth and they can relay to another microbit, which eventually can relay to a computer up to the cloud, which your AI model then can do all the heavy duty lifting on what's happening. So if you have Arduinos and microcomputers in your room, those are the kinds of things that will really help your students be ready for this generation. Practical skills. So I'm going to tell you something here. If you use a free AI tool, it's not free. What are they getting from it? They're getting your data. And if you are uploading student data and student information, you might have a privacy violation because they are taking that data and that's now part of the query that's forever up on the cloud. So at Penn State and many large organizations, they have what's called enterprise models. And enterprise models are kept locally, so they have privacy aspects of it. So here's what I did. I took a prompt right here, OpenAI, like ChatGPT. I took a query and used it on ChatGPT. And then I also used it on Microsoft's product. Microsoft's product is called Copilot. And if you have the enterprise version, like if you're part of a large company or university like Penn State, then you're going to see your queries are protected. So that means that personal information, private information does not go up to the cloud. There's a filter there and there's a firewall. So that's something to really consider. See if your school has a protected version. That might be a better way to go. What are some things that I've done with this? So I've had AI expand paragraphs or condense paragraphs based on the audience that I needed to know. If I'm taking a complicated subject and trying to teach it to a younger grade, I'll put in a prompt, take this concept in text and transform it into something that an 8th grader would understand. I have then also taken complicated texts and put them into a Twitter post or a social media post if I want to advertise something. This is something very helpful. If you've ever done project-based learning, one of the most difficult things about project-based learning is finding out what teaching standards are you using. So here's a prompt I've used for that. In bullet points, what standards might connect with this problem-based learning driving question in quotes? How can we help animals in our local environment? So when I put that in there, it cranks out all the standards, and it's just up to me to just quickly double check to make sure that those standards are in line with what I'm looking for. The old way is you had to go through all your standards line by line by line to find it. This is so much quicker, so much quicker. You can make a syllabus. You could, I've done this, taken a rubric, uploaded it into an AI machine, and then I've uploaded an essay from a student in an AI machine and said as the prompt, grade this essay based on these rubric points, and it's done it. I can take a video and get the transcript of the video and then have it create questions on the video. So if I wanted to give students a comprehensive quiz on the video, I can get questions and answers. The AI machine will watch the video, create the test for me, and go from there. It'll create photos, and more photo devices like Adobe have those capabilities in it. What are the impacts for STEM and beyond? So for scientific research and acceleration, AI aids in analyzing huge data sets, identifying patterns. It is just a game changer for the researchers at Penn State and researchers around the world. Technical innovation, it's driving breakthroughs at breakneck speed in robotics, computer vision, all that. Engineering and process optimization, it's making better supply chains, better quality control. And then really doing a lot of work with mathematical exploration and optimization. In Malaysia, like the rest of the world, AI is going to increase the demand for semiconductors. Semiconductors were already in demand, but AI, since the pandemic, AI has just exploded the use of semiconductors because they need a lot of processing power. So Malaysia, if you're unaware of it right now, you are in a giant ramp up to get a microcomputer. I'm sorry, microchip, semiconductor chip production. Most semiconductors are produced in China and in Taiwan. And those two countries are not friends with each other. So it's not good that the world's supply is right with those two countries. So a lot of other countries are realizing that and trying to build their own supply domestically. These semiconductors are going to be like oil was in the past, very, very valuable. This is a page you can explore. I've got lots of tools and tips. And really, this is sort of a gradient from simple AI exploration, like if you're just entering AI, into more robust AI exploration, like teaching kids how to code, computer science code. There are ways that you can do that. So in the United States, we don't have a lot of computer programming teachers, so we use AI to help the kids learn. So lots of good information on this page for you to explore at another time. And that's all I have time for. This is my connection page. So if you'd like to connect with me and the work we do in Penn State, you can do that. If you'd like to come to Penn State, we have something that's like a Fulbright scholarship called a Humphrey Fellow Scholarship that you can come from a year. We have lots and lots of students from Malaysia, undergrad, graduate student, and we've had Humphrey Fellows from Malaysia as well. We're a very inviting campus, so something to think about. And I am gonna escape from that, and I will take any questions if there's time for questions.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That's very enlightening, definitely. And I think we are all familiar with Humphrey Fellow. I think the U.S. Embassy usually promotes that kind of program. So teachers, participants here, you can consider that. And if you may want to contact Jeff in person, so you might want to have his email or his social media contact, which he has just shown. So if you guys have any questions, you can unmute yourself and speak up, or you can put it on the chat box. Is there any question or feedback? I'm just going to put so this is so I'm going to paste the SPQPM link, sorry, on the chat. So that's the link for your continuing professional development credit points. Um, if you cannot access that, we have another link that's for certificate link, which it's basically a Google form. So you'll be able to fill in this one, and then we'll be able to get your data as well and fill it in later. I know for the government link, it can be a bit slow, doesn't work out. There's a question there, Jeff. Hi, is copy and paste answers from AI considered a plagiarism?
Yeah, that's the big debate. So at most universities in the United States, teachers are pivoting and they are going back to pencil and paper tests. Or They are leveraging AI and making the tests a little bit more difficult and have the kids do prompt engineering to find the answers. And some of the webinars that I mentioned that are on this slideshow talk about that. And some of the links that I have in there talk about the legalities and we'll answer some of those questions. So if you do have an opportunity to go back and click through some of the links on the slideshow, I think you're going to
Yeah.
find some productive things there for you.
So I'm just going to copy it back, the link for the slideshow, which you can download, and then you can look at all the links that Jeff has provided there. Um, so Jeff, I do have a question though. As I'm an English language teacher, so how do we like prevent or identify the authenticity of our students' writing? So this is something that is a little challenging because, you know, I mean, sometimes the students' writing is just too good, and
Yes.
it could be AI or it could be, it's a pity if it's their work, but then we thought that they were doing using AI. So it's hard to tell.
So what teachers are doing more and more in the United States is having part of the test be an oral questioning where the student leaves their desk, goes to the teacher, and the teacher asks them some prompts about some of the answers they wrote down there. Um, and that helps both the teacher and the student know that there's accountability there.
Mhm.
Because really, as quickly as AI is generated to help cheat, detection devices are evolving too, but it's always going to be a cat and mouse game. I don't know that we're ever going to get ahead of that. So again, a lot of our teachers are thinking of old fashioned ways to try and do that. Have more pencil and paper tests, have a lot of oral questioning, follow-up questioning of student responses randomly, so that students know, hey, I could be asked about this, so I really have to know my stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, that's true though. We definitely it helps when we get the students to like ask the students some questions about what they like, just to make sure how authentic it is.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of them are saying thank you for great sharing. Yes, definitely. If you guys have any questions, you may put it on the chat. So if you cannot access the continuing professional development link, there's another link, the certificate link. So that's basically a Google form. So you can fill in that one and then we'll have your data. And then we'll fill it in later for you. So there's a question from Mr. Subash, Jeff. Good morning. What skills will be important for students to learn if they want to work with AI in the future? So I think this is a very important question. Thank you so much for Mr.
Yes.
Subash.
So again, the creativity of prompt engineering and creative thinking, um, that's going to be key. Is just having them work on prompt engineering and figuring out, what is it you're trying to get and how could you use prompt engineering? And then how can you make sure that the response you got was accurate and not a hallucination? So the process of verifying answers from multiple sources. So those would be some good skills for sure. I think just basic computer coding so that students have an understanding of what's behind the curtain. Once they realize it's math and it's coding, I think that's a helpful thing.
Jeff, I do have a question too. I'm not so sure. I mean, AI it's self-learning. It's very smart. It sometimes it almost mimics a person. So, sometimes when students, let's say, not just students, but any of us, when we want to talk to somebody, but we feel very shy to talk to actual human, do you think it's healthy to talk to an AI and then listen to its advice?
Yes. I mean, we have one researcher that he uses this robot for students that feel uncomfortable. They're much more comfortable talking and sharing with the robot than they are with the human. But here's the thing, the robot is prompted to like end up being that student's best friend. So you really got
Which
to
is not
think,
good.
is that healthy? Is that
It's
healthy for because it's really not that student's best friend. It's programmed to say that, but it's really not. So that's a whole nother ethical realm to think about because there are a lot of social emotional learning robots that are coming out in the market and even pets.
might be better.
Sony has had a pet dog, a robot dog for years, that really learns you and learns to behave that way. But yeah, it's just that's a fine line there, I guess.
I just feel that AI, it's not really a, it's not really a good best friend. I mean, it's something that it seems like it tailors itself to the person's desire or whatever that the person wants to listen to. So, and I think in
Yes.
reality, you know, sometimes we have to tell people the harsh truth.
Yes, exactly.
And to make the tough decisions, but it seems like whatever the people want to listen to, that's what AI will tell them to do. So obviously people will love AI more better than
Yes.
humans. That's
I
exciting.
feel it's similar to the internet. I feel like when the internet came on the scene in the 90s, everybody thought that's going to make the world a more peaceful place. But it may have had the opposite effect because people that want to hear what they want to hear are in their own bubbles and then they don't listen
Exactly.
to other points of view. AI might do that same thing.
That's true. That's true. Any more questions or feedback from the participants? So you can download Jeff's slideshow. It contains all the links, and it also contains his contact details in case if you want to know more about AI, or if you want to know more about the Penn State University programs that you can apply for. You can actually study there or to promote the university in among your students. Okay, so there's another question. So I think they feel a little embarrassed, Jeff. So they asked me on direct message. As a primary school teacher, what is the best way to introduce AI and future skills to primary school students? Primary schools, that means uh, 6 to 12
Yeah.
year old.
Yeah. I would say again, maybe a program, simple robotics programs like Scratch, um, or things like that. Because if you're doing Scratch, you're learning some prompt engineering by learning kind of coding language and the computational thinking you need to code a program or to get a little robot. There's so many education toys available in the primary schools that involve coding. I think that would be a very valuable thing for students to learn at that age.
Okay, yeah. So any more questions or feedback? We were actually expecting more, Jeff, but I think what happened was that most of the emails, it seemed like they were sent to spam. Most of those who received the emails, they were sent to spam. And then we actually have a national channel for this. But I don't know what happened today. It just that the notification pop up. It didn't show up. I don't know. In the past few weeks, there has been a lot of spam messages in the channel, and I think that's what disrupted it. Because usually these are very important in making sure people are get to know of the link. They are able to, like, for them to remember, to remind them about this masterclass. There's another question from Sufian Shah. It's on the chat box. How can educational system be adapted to prepare future generations for an AI-driven world? So that's the question, Jeff. How can educational systems be adapted to prepare future generations for an AI-driven world? And I think I've told you before that Malaysia, we are changing our curriculum. We are launching AI, and we are doing a new curriculum which will be launched in 2027. Because people are scared of this AI, and we
Yes.
need new systems. Yes.
Yeah, I think just teaching kids the ability to think and to try and figure out whether information is credible or not credible. I mean, those are just always good skills. I mean, they were good skills for the internet, and they're going to be even more so, I think, with the AI age.
So, right, I think if you have any questions, just you can put it on the chat. I'm just going to paste again the link, and maybe we can wrap it up. Some of them they did ask for the some of them they did some did ask for the recording, Jeff, and I think I will be able to access the recording, and
Yes,
I'll send, yeah, you can send me the email and I'll send it to you. I mean the participants, in case if you're interested. Let me just see that.
the thing with Zoom and the recorded message, it only lasts a month and then it disappears.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you for informing me that.
So you'll have to download it to another platform.
Okay, okay, yeah. Oh, all right. It's not like Google Meet, I think. I'm not so sure. Okay, thank you for informing me. That's a very important piece of information, Jam. Okay,
Yes.
so, so those are the two links. That's the SPL KPM link for Malaysians. It's continuing our continuing professional development programs, and I know the website can be very slow, so you can fill in the certificate link, the Google form link, which then we'll fill it in for you. So this is the link for. Okay, this is the link of okay. Okay, so that's Jeff's link for his slideshow. You can download it. His contact details are there, all of the information, all of the links to other AI as well. It can be accessed there. And this is my email in case if you need recording or if you need to contact me on anything else. So so yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Jeff, that's all right. Do you have any other questions, participants? So you can contact Jeff directly if you download the slideshow. His contact details are there in case if you want to ask more questions, if you want to invite him for an online session or maybe for a physical session in Malaysia, or if you would like to know more about the programs at his university.